Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a really beautiful day today. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to be more organized. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to my channel and don't forget to hit that bell so you're notified every time I make new videos. I think it's really important to be organized because it gives you a sense of more control over the things that are happening in your day. And the more control you have, the more you get to choose where you want to spend your time, and it just helps you live a less stressful life. So I'm just going to jump right into it and go into the first thing, which is a very obvious one, but it's also the most important, and that is to write it down. And this could be in many different places and in different ways, but I recommend keeping it all in one notebook, one planner, or just an app on your phone so it's all in one place. This way you can clear it and categorize it whenever you have time. So the way I categorize my list is I have 3 sections. One's personal, one's work, and one is just for random things. So in my personal one, I've put things like researching crystals, researching some skincare products that I want to try. And in my work section, it's usually dedicated to the children that I work, or my YouTube and blogging stuff. And in my other section, it's really random things like renewing your passport, putting up a painting, and just doing some life admin stuff. So the more you start to categorize your list, the more personal you can make it for yourself. Obviously, everyone lives different lives and different things are important to them, so you can find out how to categorize that. And then you can even have subcategories. So like I said, in my work category, I have 2 sections. One's for my YouTube stuff and one's for the children that I work with. Even if you don't have categories, don't worry. It's something that you can build over time and then start to make really personal to yourself. But it's still really important to write these things down, because say for example, you want to make a cake and you don't have any flour at home. But if you don't write it down and you think that you can remember these things, you end up at the supermarket, you forget to buy the flour, and then it's really sad because you don't get cake. But seriously, our brain really can't hold on to all of the little things that we get exposed to in the day. No matter how good you think your memory is, life happens, things get in the way, and our brain focuses on other things. So write it down. I really love using Notion for all of my detailed notes and any bit of research that I find or quotes that I really like. So another thing that I do is have a shared page with my husband, which is usually just the shopping list. This way, no matter where we are, we both have access to the updated shopping list, and whenever we remember, we can just add it to the list. So as well as creating shared notes, you can also create a shared calendar, and my husband and I use this for events, but most of the time it's when we're on holiday and we're planning itineraries and people that we need to meet. But I used to use this a lot when I was back home because my family are foster carers, so there's loads of children at home, and it's a really good way for everybody in the household to have access to when there's appointments, when there's meetings, when there's assemblies, just so everybody has an updated version of what's going on instead of it being in one place at home where you can't always access it. So number 2 is to dedicate a day to organize everything. Whether it's Friday, so you're prepped for a weekend full of fun, or if it's a Sunday, so you're getting ready to go into work mode. Spend this time doing all of your life admin stuff. It's really important to give yourself time and space to actually dedicate to planning and to organizing. Otherwise things will just pile and they'll get really overwhelming and you'll just have a big block in your life. I know I mentioned putting things in categories, but I also understand that we can't always do that. Sometimes I only have 1 second to quickly write something down and it will just be on a random new note page on my phone. So this is the time to organize the random page. So for example, I was out and I heard a song that I really liked, and I just wrote down the lyrics of the song so I could go home and find it. And then I also remembered that we needed to buy sweet chili sauce, and quickly I put that under the first note page that was open. So going back to the importance of creating time and space to go through these things is that if I don't organize these things, then I'll forget that song and not really be able to listen to it again, or I'll forget that we need to buy sweet chili sauce. And that feeling you get when you forget something when you really want it, it's not really nice. And if it's a bigger thing, it can put a downer on your day, and this is why it's important to give yourself time to make sure you're organized, so you just feel more in control of everything that you do in your day. During this time, you can also plan long-term and short-term events that you have during the weekend, people that you're going to meet, places that you're going to go to, things that you need to do. And moving on to my next point, which is to create a system. So this will really help you feel on top of everything and just have some sort of plan put into place if you don't know what to do. So every night I put out my laptop, my journal, and my notebook, because that's the first thing that I want to do every morning. I keep it open and flexible, so if I wake up really feeling a bit lost and not knowing what to do, instead of spending hours deciding how I'm going to organize my day, there's a small plan that's already made for me. Spend some time doing small things on a daily basis and bigger things on a weekly or monthly basis. By this I mean keep on top of everything that you want to do. So every day we clean the kitchen and the bathrooms and we sweep and dust the place. Because there's so much construction going on, I feel like I need to do that every day. And every week we do the grocery shopping, we do the laundry, and we go out for dinner. And every month we organize the cupboards, we do a deep clean of everything, we clean the mattresses and things like that. So there is this system that's put in place to help us keep on top of all these little things, instead of it all piling up and then getting really overwhelming, and then it gets harder to just find a day to dedicate to all of it because the list becomes so big. And my next point is to have a balance of work and play. As you all know, I'm a huge advocate of self-care, and I think it's so important to actually carve out time in your day that you can dedicate to doing something that you love and something that makes you feel good. Even if things are not done on your to-do list, you can move past it, but you should never ever compromise when it comes to looking after yourself, because we don't do that, we can't do the things on our list the next day, and it's as simple as that. So I usually like to use one day of my weekend as a full spa day where I'll do a hair mask and a face mask and things like that, because that's what makes me feel good and rejuvenated after a really long productive week. And the next thing you can do is time tracking. This will give you more of a rigid idea of what your day would look like. So I'm really good at estimating how long it takes me to do certain things. It takes me 20 minutes to clean the whole apartment, and it takes me about 15 minutes to shower and get ready. But this is because it's a habit that I've built since I was younger. I remember I used to time exactly how long it took me in the shower, exactly how long it took me to brush my teeth and even wash my face, and do all these very little things in my day. So it's given me a really good awareness of time in general. So if you don't feel like you have a good sense of time, all you have to do is write down every single thing that you do and then keep track of the time of when you've done those things as well. For example, if you wake up at 6 o'clock, you write that down, and then if you shower for 20 minutes, you write that down, and you'll just start to build a better understanding of how long it takes you to do certain things in your day. And this is really helpful if you're someone who's late often, because if you know that it takes you 20 minutes to get ready, then 25 minutes before you have to leave, you can start to get ready. So then it's less likely that you'll be late. And this takes me on to my next point. So once you have all of these things figured out and you know how long it takes you to do certain things, you can start to time block your day and use reminders and alarm clocks to help you follow a structure and get everything you want done. So if you know it takes you 10 minutes to clean your room, then you just put a timer on your phone for 10 minutes, you clean like there's no tomorrow, and you don't spend a single second longer doing that. And this will help the flow of your day also be a lot smoother. So I like to add a reminder for my evening skincare routine, because I often feel like I neglect this. I usually just laze around in the evening and go straight to bed, so having a reminder is really helpful to keep on top of it. I also have a timer on my Instagram where I only use it for 25 minutes a day, but during the week when I'm working, it's a really good way for me to stop the mindless scrolling that we can get sucked into. And the next point is to declutter your technology and keep the load light. I specifically say technology because that's where all my work is and that's where I spend most of my time. So I clear my desktop on a weekly basis. I clear all these random screenshots that I take, all these downloads that I have. I just make sure I delete them so I have a clear space to work with. Once there's clarity in your workspace, you'll feel a lot more clearer, you'll feel a lot more in control, which will help you feel more productive, and it's just a chain reaction of all of these things. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I went through 9,000 emails and it took me 2 hours to delete and unsubscribe from things that I subscribed to 10 years ago. But once I was done, it was like a breath of fresh air, and it was something that I've been putting off for a long time. So if you constantly keep on top of the little things, then you'll just naturally feel more organized. Going back to creating a system, I think it's really important to dedicate time to do these things, otherwise they'll never get done and it will be really overwhelming. Hopefully you won't have to deal with 9,000 emails. So for example, I have to clear out my hard drive next, and I've dedicated a weekend to do this. And sometimes we can think, oh, well, that's not important, I'd rather do something more productive, but we don't want that to get overwhelming, which is why it's so important to block out time to do these things, and this way you're more in control and it won't overwhelm you in the future. And also this can relate to your physical space as well. When you're done with eating dinner, pick up your plate, take it to the sink and wash it straight away. This is such a good habit to get into, because then you don't let your mind think, oh, I'll do it later, until the dishes pile up. And this goes for anything. It brings so much clarity when you know where everything is in your house because you've put it back straight away. And this takes me on to my next point, which is be organized with the important stuff. I remember growing up, all of our passports were in one room, in one drawer, and we all knew where they were, so it was a safe space for them. But one day my dad was going to Spain, and I think he had to leave at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And you'll probably know what happened next. He took my passport at 3 o'clock in the morning and had to come back, and he did end up getting the flight, so it was okay. But after this happened, we all got given these harmonium style folders to put our passports, birth certificates, and any other important documents, and they were all kept in everyone's room. And I think this is one of the most important things you can do, because at the end of the day, nothing else in your home is more important than your passport, your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, or all of these important documents that are necessary in today's life. So get yourself a folder. It can be a binder or a harmonium style folder, and just put everything in one place. Another thing that I do as well is I have pictures of all these documents that are in my email, and I have a folder on my phone. These days people just want an email copy, which I can easily send over that way as well. And the next point I'm going to talk about is habit stacking, which is putting loads of small habits together to create a routine. And a simple example of this is we wake up, we brush our teeth, we wash our face, and then we shower, and then we have a routine. But if we wanted to add moisturizing would be another habit that we have to add onto this chain. So the reason I'm talking about this is, even though that's a simple example that we all do, we still have to add little things to these routines to make them ideal for our lives. And it's important to batch similar habits together. So for example, we wouldn't wake up and go into the kitchen and start washing the dishes, then go and brush our teeth, and then come and answer a few emails, and go and wash our face, then come and make some breakfast, and then go and have a shower. It's much more effective if you did all of those things together, because you're in one space where all of those things happen. And this way you're just more effective with your time. And my last point is to simplify and minimize. So instead of creating a huge routine that you're going to do in a day, create a list of 3 things that you're going to get done with the best quality, so you're left feeling satisfied, instead of doing 100 things that are not really done in the best quality, and you don't really get that proud feeling at the end of the day. So do only what is important. What I do when I write a list now, I usually just select 2 or 3 things that I want to work on, and if I've done that throughout the day, then I'm happy. I don't want to overwork myself. I don't want to be productive from the second I wake up to the second I go to sleep. I just want to get some good quality things done, and I am happy with that. And you've probably also heard this before, but do the most important things first. If we start our day off with the easy, simple things, then the difficult things are only going to get harder and harder and feel more daunting. So we end up doing them at 8 o'clock at night. We rush them and they're not good quality. So if we started in the morning, it would be a lot different. And that brings me to the end of the video. Don't forget to leave a comment of any other tips that you have to be more organized, and be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time I make a new video. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.